Good evening. As you can see, I have lost my voice and actually am sick. So today I'll be doing a short version of my regular weekly market rep to save my voice for this weekend talk in Penang. Uh, so without much ado, let's get started. I will go to the main points instead of talking about the usual stuff. I think the main point to understand this week is what's really happening in this. Okay, I want to talk about this election going on in the upper house in Japan. This is something that is ongoing. Tonight we'll be knowing the result of this election, and the outcome of this result is likely to impact the market tomorrow morning. Should the LDP, the current incumbent party that's holding the premiership in Japan under Ishiba, loses, which he expected to lose some seats in this election. However, what they are trying to do is, as far as the LDP is concerned, they are trying to win 50 seats, more than their current 75 seats. So if they are able to do that, then nothing much will happen. However, if they win less than 50 seats on top of their 75 current seats, then it will be a problem going forward because the opposition now wants the Bank of Japan to buy more JGBs. Okay, and if that's the case, it's likely to push the Nikkei higher because right now there is no demand for the JGBs, which is the Japanese government bonds. So the outcome of this election tonight, I think the result will come in the next few hours, possibly tomorrow morning, early in the morning. And this is what they want to do because the economy right now is stagnant. In fact, there is the possibility that the Japanese economy may actually go into recession. So this is something to watch because it will impact how the U.S. Treasury will be trading. Because as far as the LDP is concerned, they may be forced yeah, to sell U.S. Treasuries going forward. That's on top of the 25% tariff that President Trump is threatening to impose on Japan. So between the tariff threats and the fact that they do not want to be buying JGBs to push up interest rates, the Japan is currently at a crossroad, so it is very crucial as to how Japan move forward. So as far as the economy is concerned, we can see the inflation uh, reflected by the CPI is concerned is actually looking higher. So when we look at a year-over-year number, we can see that this headline CPI is currently at 2.7% year-over-year. Even when we look at the core is up 2.9%. So this is not as bad as what the market was fearing, but it is nonetheless a number that is telling us that inflation is coming back in the States, measured by the CPI. The outliner here is the producer price index. Producer price actually continue to trade lower. So at the wholesale level, we still do not see inflation being a problem just yet. So there is a bit of a conflict between the CPI and the PPI numbers. So we will have to see in the months forward how these two index here is going to reconcile. Okay. Retail sales has also bounced back. So we can see retail sales represented by the red line is up 0.5% from a negative territory. So this shows us that retail sales is still very buoyant in the States. It did not come as bad as what the market was expecting. So that actually gives the Wall Street actually a bounce in equity market this past week. So on Friday, we can see that consumers are still very, very confident about the markets. Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index is currently elevated at 61.8 from its low point of 53, I believe. Okay, so we can see that the prices has been, this index here is just a measurement of the overall confidence of US consumers. And if consumers are not confident, they are definitely not going to be buying more. So the fact that consumers are somewhat confident suggests that maybe the worst may not happen just yet. We can see that there is a new high traded in the S&P 500. This is on Friday. market traded to the high of 6,315 for the first time, registering an all-time high. So the market closed just under 3,600. So this is telling us S&P 500, for some reason, the retail are very, very buoyant. So we can see that the S&P 500 has been taken to a new high on Friday alone, ahead of uh, uh, this weekend Japan election. Even the Nasdaq also registered a brand new high, 23,153. This is the first time it actually crossed above 23,000. So we can see that both the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 did something that the rest of the market did not do. Okay, so these are very retail-oriented index. It shows us that consumers, basically Americans, retail investors are very confident about the market, and they have actually thrown caution to the wind. So I think this is something that we have to watch because the momentum is actually dying down. So in terms of momentum, there is simply not enough momentum behind this trade here. So this is my main concern, and I definitely will not be looking to buy anywhere at current levels. What we have here is that the Dow Jones, which has been a laggard, the Dow Jones did try to challenge the all-time high at 45,000. So the highest it traded was at the beginning of the month at 44,885. In fact, on Friday, the market traded to a brand new high in both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. The Dow Jones actually closed down. Okay, so we have to take this into notice. The smart money is definitely not buying this rally, at least not now. In the treasury yields, we can see yields has come back down. We have noticed that in the past week, a yield in the US has actually been looking to trade even higher. We have the 30-year treasury yields going back above 5%. So this is threatening the overall look in the demand for the US treasuries. So now with the treasury yields coming off a little bit, maybe that is telling us that market believe that there is still enough demand to support the US treasury bonds auction. Gold came within the handbreadth of challenging the all-time high. The high traded this past week, I believe it was on Wednesday. It's $3,377.50. This is not very far away from the all-time high of 3,500 traded on April 22nd. So right now we have gold testing the upper end of the trading range. Overall, we can see gold remains very, very supported. So, but I think between silver and gold, attention has been shifted to silver. Silver is currently trading at a 13 years high. So I think it has taken some shine of gold. But I think overall, the demand for gold is obviously very much intact. Crude oil prices remains elevated. We can see that the bounce in the crude oil prices is currently at a mid $60 per barrel. So I do not believe that it can sustain overall. There is the possibility of another decline in the crude oil prices because after the sharp drop in the day after US bombed Iran nuclear facility, crude oil prices in Asia traded to $76.14, and since then it has actually collapsed below $65 per barrel. So now we can see there's a bit of a bounce going on, but this bounce does look very suspect to me. Overall, maybe there's going to be another dip lower before we can see some kind of consolidation in crude oil prices. The dollar will continue to bounce. The low trader is 96 even in the dollar index. And since then, the beginning of this month, you can see dollar has been rebounding. But I think this rebound is still very, very tentative. It may extend a little bit higher, but I think the key to will be at this level here, 101, I think 30. So we're going to continue to watch this level. Bitcoin continued to trade higher as of I think Tuesday. No, this is Monday. Monday traded to a brand new high of 123,000. And then since then, the market has pulled back. Last I checked was about 118,400. So we can see that Bitcoin, although it has traded to 123,000, now the market is off by almost $4,500 per coin. But overall, we can see that this is on the back of the passage of the Genius Act. So we can see this is overall currently very, very bullish looking. Okay, so now I want to go straight into the chart itself. Forgive me for rushing because I want to save my voice. Okay, this is the Dow Jones chart here. Uh, This is the weekly time frame. You can see that Dow Jones, although is currently near the all-time high at 45,153, it is basically now respecting this high here and does not have any real I would say it doesn't have any real intention to break, but it does look like it can break anytime. So even if the market break a new high into 45,153, the top side, I believe, is going to be quite limited. We still are likely to see one or two more new highs before the market can stabilize. So I think based on what I can see so far, with the lack of momentum, I think I'm not chasing the equity markets at this current price any higher. So in the daily time frame, you can see that the market is respecting. So right now it's creating a triple top here. So although there's a triple top, it does not mean the market is ready to be sold. Not yet, because I think the S&P 500 and the National 100 still have momentum behind it. So let the market play out and exhaust itself before we go in to trade counter trend. Let me go to the S&P 500. This is the weekly time frame for the S&P 500. You can see that it's a brand new high, 6,319.65, very close to my target here, 6,360.31. So again, these are very elevated prices. I'm definitely not in favor of chasing this run at these current levels. Okay, so we can see the prices has been going higher. In fact, this area here has a very clear five-way structure. One, two, this is possibly part of a three. So if the three ends at 3,000, 6,319.65, then we possibly will see another pullback, possibly to test the 6,000 level before the market goes into a brand new high. So the next high is going to be very crucial, because I think we are looking at least one more new high before the market stabilizes, and I think that's where it becomes very dangerous to continue buying. Okay, so this is my personal opinion. So you can just take a look at it. In the Nasdaq 100, same thing. I look at the weekly time frame. Currently, the market has a brand new high. So the high here is 23,163.05. So going forward, is the market likely to go even higher? I think it is likely to go even higher. Right now, I have a tentative target at about 27,400. So whether the market can continue to go higher towards 27,400 remains to be seen. This is a market that is still currently having recovered more than 25% loss in April. Now has now been trading at all-time high. This is quite remarkable for a market. So we can say that sentiment is actually quite bullish based on the fact that it has recovered so deep after being sold off in April. This is the daily time frame. You can see that there's also possibly what looks like a very impulsive move from 17,600. One, two, this is part of a three. So the three, I have a target of about 22,300 to 23,400. So currently where we are right now is right in middle of this target area. So at this current point, there is always the danger of a pullback. And if we look at a pullback, the next level to be hoping to be able to hold this run is 21,500. So hopefully if the market rebound, it come down in the three-wave pullback sitting at 21,500. This will result in one more push higher to a brand new high. And like I say, in the S&P 500, the next high is going to be very crucial, because it could mark the end of this entire multi-decades rally in the US equity markets. I will also go into, I think I will skip the European markets and go straight to Asia. I want to show you the Nikkei 225. Now, Nikkei has actually been trying to overcome the 40,000 mark. There are many times the market has actually tried. Recently, we also saw 3 weeks ago, the Nikkei actually traded a high of 40,850, but couldn't close above that. The only time it did was 4 weeks ago, where the market closed at 40,544. But in subsequent weeks, we can see that the market has pulled back on the 40,000 levels. So it remains to be seen. I think the result will be based very much on the outcome of this on Sunday's election in the Japanese upper house. Okay. So this is what we are looking at. Overall, the daily time frame support higher prices. Again, very similar. We see a 1, 2, perhaps 3, fall. What we are seeing here is possibly a fall, followed by another push higher beyond 40,850. If that's the case, that will complete the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and that could finish the sequence before a bigger pullback uh, uh, ensures. Over in Hong Kong, we can see the same thing. Hong Kong remains very bullish. You can see Hong Kong has a marginal high here. Uh, this past week, we have a high of 0.7550. So overall, the Hong Kong market remains very bearish. Okay, we have a bounce from about 14,600. So this is part of a three-wave rally. So based on what we can see so far, unless this 26,769.70 is taken out, this current level here is actually quite conducive for counter trend trade because the risk reward is actually quite superior. If the market goes any higher, anything above, let's say 26,000, it becomes very attractive to be trading counter trend because my risk is no higher than 26,770. Okay, so based on what we can see here, it does look like a counter trend may be developing. However, when we look into the daily time frame, this is not the case. And the daily time frame suggests that we may have more room to go higher. So be very careful chasing this market ever higher. In the daily time frame, the market is overall very, very bullish on the low here that we see at 14,761 and a quarter. So this is part of that bullish outlook. Maybe we want to hold off to the counter trend trade that is developing from the weekly time frame. But again, for those who are gung-ho and want to trade counter trend based on the weekly time frame, it does look like something that is doable. Anything above 26,000 looks very attractive to me. In the currencies, we can see the dollar rebound has also saw the pullback in the currencies. The high traded in the euro versus the dollar as 118.30. So for 3 weeks now, we can see after hitting the high at 118.23, 30, the euro dollar actually pulled back. And this is part of a larger degree three-wave rally. So this three-wave rally could have ended at 118.30, or it may have a little bit more room to go. But based on what I can see so far, this is higher to sell in my opinion. This is the daily time frame. And over here, we can see there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is in the progress of 5. If this is really the 5, then we should see a new structure here in an ABC move, possibly below 107.30. Okay, so that is something to watch out. Right now, the market is respecting this resistance line that we see from 118.30. Okay. I have actually placed an order to sell the sterling because sterling right now is in a little bit of a quagmire because of that budget issue. The Chancellor of the Exchequer is having problem balancing the government budget, and what's happening in the gilt market is definitely seeing influencing the overall sentiments in UK. So I would want to be looking for a level to be selling in the sterling versus dollar. But however, there was very little rebound. Friday, the market rebound a little bit, but it was a little bit too shallow. So I'm still looking for level to be selling, keeping my stop just above 138. This is the daily time frame. Okay, so right now we have a three-way pullback. I'm hoping to be selling at 130, 135.30 levels. So if that's the case, then I won't be looking for level to sell for the at least the minute for the likelihood of a larger degree three-way pullback, possibly targeting 131. In the dollar versus the yen, you can see dollar versus the yen continue to trade higher. Here, what we have is that Japan is currently under a lot of pressure. The U.S. Treasury, Scott Bessent, wants the Japanese yen to be stronger, meaning to say the dollar yen to be trading lower. But Japan has been resisting the call to actually strengthen the yen, because if they strengthen the yen, it will definitely make their export not competitive. And that is between the call to allow the yen to strengthen by raising interest rates, as well as the 25% trade tariff the Trump administration is imposing on Japan. So between the two, I think the current administration in Japan will have to pick a choice. The market has already seen how the Japan under the current premiership is resisting the call from Japan, from the US to actually cradle their own economy. So the outcome of tonight's election is going to be very, very crucial. If the opposition wins more seats, then there is a good reason that we may see the dollar yen continue to trade higher. And that would be terrible for Japan because it means the yen will be losing ground, and Japan is trying to resist intervention because the last time they intervened was near 162. So if this time, if the LDP loses the election, there is pressure in the marketplace for the dollar to actually rally more against the yen, okay, making the yen cheaper. And while that is the case, they will be importing in a lot of inflation because Japan actually imports a lot of food and energy. And currently, the biggest item in the inflation outlook is actually the price of rice. Rice prices has been escalating in double digit in Japan. They are also resisting the call from US to buy American rice. Okay, so this is a situation we will continue to monitor. I think in the next few hours, continue to monitor the news in the Japanese election because tomorrow the market will have a big reaction to whatever happens tonight. So over here, we can see that the pressure in the dollar versus the yen continue to be trending to the upside. In the market take out 150, 120, it will likely continue to even higher to challenge the 158.90 over time. Okay. So I don't want to go into too many currencies, save my voice. I will go straight into the main one. In the gold market, we can see that gold continue to trade higher. Okay, but I think this higher is a little bit premature. The market stay in the consolidation phase as far as I can see. But overall, the market bullish trend has not been compromised in any way. The market remains lower to buy. In the daily time frame, this is what I suspecting is to see. Okay, there's A, B, C, D, E, and followed by a very violent breakup to the upside beyond the 3,500. Okay, so we will depends on how it is. I've already gone in to buy because even if the market go up and pull back, it will still be cheaper uh, than this past week. So I've actually taken the initiative to go in to buy already, hoping that the low at 3,247.40 will be respected. So this is where my stop is. If I'm wrong, the market did not turn out to be a A, B, C, D, E movement. Okay, what I was hoping was this is A, B, C, D, E before the market breaks out in a post-triangle thrust, equal the distance between 3,500 to 3,121. Okay, that's about $380 from the point of breakout. So this can be quite substantial in my opinion. You made a target, you do your own sum. From the point of breakout, it's likely to be somewhere around 3,400. So if that's the case, you add $380 to the breakout point, that should give you roughly the target of this entire move. Right? Like I said earlier on, I think silver has been stealing the thunder from right underneath the gold market. Silver actually traded to a brand new high at 39,011 cents. Okay, so this is a all-time high. This is a 13-year high. Okay, so right now, in order for the market to go even higher, it needs to take out this higher at 44,021. That remains a possibility, but I do not believe it will happen this wrong. So what I'm expecting to see is some kind of resistance going forward as the market trade higher. Okay, so there is no saying that the market is getting ready to surge beyond $44.21 just yet. But the fact that the market is elevated, okay, just only $1 below the 13-year-old high. This is part of a five-way structure as well. Okay, so if I minimize this, you will see that this is part of a bigger move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are in the tail end of this current rally here, at least for now. I do not believe that it will break $44.21 just yet. What will happen is the market will have a massive pullback all the way back to $28. Okay, so if that's the case, then I'll be looking for levels to buy again. So until that happens, I'm just going to monitor the price action in the silver market. I'm not keen to buy at this current level because it is part of the last wave here. Here we have a 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, there is the possibility of ending this current sequence here from $28.24. When we look at oil, remains quite endemic. Oils are not able to bounce. The market pulled back from $76.77 on the day just after the US bombed Iran. So we can see that has been mitigated by a massive sell-off by producers to lock in the price in futures market. So that has basically damaged the potential for a breakout. In the daily time frame, you can see that this pullback here is rather sharp, and the bounce that we can see here is actually very, very tentative. Yes, we may be able to see further rally, but this rally has no legs. So be very careful buying oil at its current price. I think the risk of another dip below $63 and 72 cents is actually quite real. Wait for the market to do another dip. If it ever come, then maybe it will look more attractive from that perspective. Now, Bitcoin has been trading at all-time high. You can see that Bitcoin prices at 123,200 actually happened this past week. You can see that the high traded was right before the passage of the Genius Act. In fact, this high was traded on Monday in expectation of the passage of the Genius Act. Now that it happened and President Trump has signed into law, we will continue to monitor this. I think overall the structure remains very elevated. There's a lot of people saying that target is possibly either already in place or is actually very near between 125,000 to 130,000. So again, be very careful chasing this Bitcoin higher at its current price. I think there is a possibility that a top is likely to be in place just under 130,000. Currently, in the daily time frame, there is already a total trend in place for $123, $123,217. So this is part of the corrective move, and the corrective move is still playing out. We can see that the market is still doing the corrective move here. Okay, so I think the risk for another dip lower is actually quite real. This low here is currently at 115,672.65. So another dip below this swing low here is quite possible. But if the market goes into this bracket of prices, I think this could be a good catchment area. This area could be a good catchment area if you're looking to buy the dip. And this area is between the swing low here at 110,400 and 112,000. Okay, so anywhere between these breakout prices, there could be some kind of support because this is where the market actually was basing before the market took higher. Okay, so if the market return back to this base, there's a hope that the people who bought previously, hopefully they will come back and buy some more. Okay, so this will be a good area to buy the dip if you are looking to buy the dip. Okay, the lately we can see that there has been a pivot towards Ethereum ever since they passed the Genius Act. Here we can see that the market has actually gone positive. So this market right now has just turned positive with a high at $3,700 per token. So again, this is market likely to challenge the 4,106, possibly to take out the $4,100. So this could actually put the market in a setup to challenge the all-time high, $4,860.25. So this is actually quite bullish. Instead of buying Bitcoin, maybe the potential is in Ethereum because most of the Ethereum network has been, most of the stable coin does use the Ethereum blockchain to launch stable coin. So that has indirectly changed the dynamics in the crypto market. We can see that the last 2 weeks has been nothing but very, very bullish news, just ahead of the passage of the Genius Act. So I think the fact that the market right now is so elevated at 3,725, it shows that it will close somewhere near the high of the week. And this is actually setting up for higher prices in the days ahead. So this is again something that we have to contend with. And I have to eliminate all this This market has turned positive. It has turned bullish. So this is where we are right now, 3,727.6. Okay, I think it is calling for higher prices ahead. I have actually bought Ethereum below $2, so my Ethereum is doing well. So now I bought somewhere in the middle, and the prices has actually rallied quite substantially. Right now we are at all-time high in the challenging the all-time high. So we can see that based on this, the market right now is at $3.66. The next stop will be $4. I intend to take some profit at $4, and hopefully that there will be a pullback after that, allowing me to re-enter my longs at lower levels after the surge to $4 per coin. So this is actually quite bullish for now. This is the 4 hours time frame. You can see the market has gone into a period of consolidation. There is the risk the market will go lower to $3.15. But then again, the overall structure remains very, very bullish. So if the market can go down first before it goes up, I may be keen to add to my existing long position in Ripple for a target of $4, at least for now. Overall, I think the possibility of a $6 move in Ripple is actually quite real. But the market doesn't goes up in a straight line. So I am very realistic. Is if the market can rally to $4, I'll be more than happy to take some profit and then wait for the next pullback. All right, I finished what I want to show you. I just know that in the I'll be doing a talk in Penang this weekend. Hopefully, my voice can recover by then. On the 25th of July, I will be speaking to clients of Philip Capital in Penang. So those of you who are in Penang and want to listen to my talk can always register with the Philip Capital website, or you can come direct to the venue, which is the office in, let me see, I think the location is called, let me see, I'll change this slide. As you can see, their office is 29A Lebuah Pantai in Georgetown. So this will be happening in the evening of July 25th, which is a Friday. So this will be on focus on equity markets futures. The next day morning, I'll be doing a back-to-back presentation, not the same, but I'll be including more stuff. It will be broken into two sessions on 26. That'll be the morning itself, lasting from, I believe, 9 o'clock to perhaps 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So they will be broken down into two sessions. The first half of the session itself is very basic. I'll be introducing the concept of futures and options. And if you're not keen to listen to that, you can always join us in the second half of the session itself, where I'll be talking about not only US equity markets, I'll be talking about the global market, I'll be talking about the energy markets. Okay, so these are all related to futures for Maybank futures. So if you're keen to join me in either or both events, you understand that I'll be in Penang this weekend to give a back-to-back talk. Now, the talk for Maybank is at AC Hotel, managed by Marriott's Hotel. So if you are keen to join us, so that will be AC Hotel on 26th of July this month. Okay, so hopefully this is something that I can do for you, and hopefully by then my voice does recover. So I'm not sure whether you have a question for me. I'm going to take a look at the question. Thank you, Stan. Thank you very much. Thank you, Raja Kumar. Lily is asking about Swiss yen and Swiss ringgit. Swiss RMB is quite interesting right now. Could I please comment why such a move behind? I do not monitor the minor crosses. In fact, I don't monitor the crosses very, very much. But I do from time to time to a look at the major crosses, like the yen crosses against the major pairs, but very little against, let's say, the ringgit or the RMB. So unfortunately, I'm not able to provide any insights to those. Okay. Anonymous is asking if we have no position in Ethereum. Should we start to jump in now? I think the momentum is very much behind Ethereum right now. Not sure whether you want to jump in to buy at current price, but the momentum does appear to be very, very strong. Hoping for a pullback right now in the face of the current momentum, maybe a little bit of a wishful thinking. So if you are of the opinion that the prices may not pull back a lot, then maybe you can adopt a more aggressive approach. For me, I will not be chasing the market because if it doesn't happen to be Ethereum, there will be something else I can do in the marketplace. Okay. Uh, Cardano has also been rising. Uh, Kilo, thank you very much. Okay. Here we have Jim. Thank you. Can I look at Litecoin? I also will be monitoring Litecoin for a while. But I think overall, I suspect that it will have also some very bullish uh, outlook here. Maybe what I can do in next week update, I will add in those few coins that you guys are looking at, like Litecoin and Dano. Okay. I believe I may have Cardano. Let me have a look at the chart itself. Yeah, if you can see my chart here, this is Cardano. Cardano right now has a pump very similar to Ethereum, okay, but it is not as aggressive. But the fact that it is closing very near the weekly high does give idea to that fact that there will be a challenge of $1.32 at least A B C move. If that's the case, I think there's potential for $1.65 at the bare minimum. So I think there is more scope in Cardano compared to let's say Ethereum. For those who are looking to do something with Ethereum, let me take another look at Ethereum. Can you buy now? This is the lower time frame. Unfortunately, there is very little prospect of a pullback. Okay, the nearest area of demand appears to be somewhere here, but the prospect of an immediate pullback to this area is not very very high. Okay, but if it does, then there could be something to look at. This area is between let me see what's the low here. Uh, $218 and 16 cents to as high as $3,096. Okay, so if the market ever pull back, that could be one good area of demand. Like I said, the momentum right now is so strong. Yeah, it's most likely to be trading higher to challenge this high over here. This is the immediate swing high. So next week, I am not surprised at all if the Ethereum prices hit $4,000 per token. Okay, so it all depends on your appetite. For me, I won't be chasing, but if you feel that this momentum is strong enough, at least go for $4,100. Maybe there is scope for some very, very quick trade here. Okay, but I won't be doing that myself. Okay, I think that's all I can do for you tonight. I'm so sorry, my voice is good. In fact, the doctor was telling me not to speak tonight. So I'm trying to save my voice for the weekend. And for those who are going to show up in Penang or are living in Penang, I'm more than happy to welcome you to attend my talk on 25th of this month, which is a Friday, in the evening at 7:30 to 9:30 at Philip. And then in the morning of July 26th, which is Saturday, between 9 and 2 p.m. Okay, like I said, there'll be two sessions. In the morning session, it's basically quite basic. If you already know what the futures is and what the option is, then maybe you don't need to come in the morning session. You just have to show up in the afternoon, in the second half of the session itself, which was kick off at time, I think around 11 a.m. Okay, so if you have not registered, I believe you can walk in to register yourself. All right, guys, this is all I have for you. I'm so sorry I can't do more. I shall see you in Penang. Thank you very much. Bye bye.